If you truly want 2026 to be different, not just another year that passes you by, then you must begin by asking better questions. Because the quality of your life is not determined by what happens to you. It is determined by what you ask yourself every single day. Most people wake up and move through life on autopilot. They react instead of reflect. They complain instead of question. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But transformation doesn't come from wishing. It comes from awareness. So today, I want to give you 3 questions. Not complicated questions. Not magical questions. But powerful ones. Questions that, when asked daily, can change the direction of your life. The first question is this: what do I really want? And why does it matter to me? Be honest. Strip away what society told you to want. Strip away what looks good on the outside. What do you truly desire? Peace, freedom, growth, love, purpose. And once you name it, ask why. Because when your why is strong, your excuses become weak. Clarity fuels motivation. Without clarity, effort is wasted. When you know what you want and why you want it, your decisions become simpler, and distractions lose their power. The second question is, what am I doing today that supports the life I say I want? And what am I doing that doesn't? This question requires courage, because it forces you to look at your habits, your choices, your relationships, and your patterns. You cannot ask for a new future while repeating old behaviors. Growth begins when you tell yourself the truth, not with judgment, but with responsibility. Responsibility is not punishment. It is power. The moment you accept that your daily actions shape your destiny, you reclaim control over your life. And the third question is, who am I becoming through my daily choices? Success is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Are your choices making you stronger or smaller? More confident or more fearful? More aligned or more exhausted? Every decision is shaping your character. Every habit is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. When you focus on becoming the right person, the right results begin to follow naturally. If you ask these 3 questions every day, not once, not occasionally, but daily, something powerful happens. You stop living by default and start living by design. You become intentional. You become aligned. You become awake. 2026 doesn't need a new version of your life. It needs a new level of awareness. And awareness begins with the questions you dare to ask yourself. So ask them daily. Answer them honestly. And watch how your life begins to change. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Clarity is the foundation of every meaningful transformation. Without clarity, life becomes a series of reactions, instead of intentional actions. When you are unclear about what you want, you waste energy chasing things that do not fulfill you, confuse activity with progress, and mistake movement for growth. Clarity is power because it gives direction to your thoughts, your emotions, and your daily decisions. It turns confusion into confidence and fear into focus. Most people believe they want success, happiness, or freedom. But very few people take the time to define what those words truly mean to them. And that lack of definition becomes the reason they feel stuck. When you do not know exactly what you want, you settle for what is convenient, what is familiar, or what others expect from you. A clear mind creates a clear path, but a confused mind creates excuses. Clarity begins with asking honest questions. Questions that force you to look inward instead of outward. When you ask yourself what you truly want, you begin separating your real desires from borrowed dreams. Society teaches you to want titles, money, approval, and status, but your soul may be craving peace, growth, impact, or freedom. Until you identify the difference, you will feel restless. Even responsibility is often misunderstood. Many people hear the word and immediately think of pressure, burden, or blame, but true responsibility is not about punishment. It is about power. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, your choices, and your outcomes, you reclaim control over your future. Responsibility is freedom because it removes the illusion that your life is in someone else's hands. When people avoid responsibility, they give their power away. They blame circumstances, other people, their past, or their luck, and while those factors may influence life, they do not define it. Blame may feel comfortable in the moment, but it keeps you stuck, because if someone else is responsible, then someone else must change before your life can improve. Responsibility changes that equation. It places the ability to change directly back into your hands. Taking responsibility does not mean being harsh on yourself. It means being honest with yourself. It means acknowledging where you are without shame, and deciding where you want to go with intention. It is the difference between saying, "This is happening to me," and saying, "This is my life, and I have the power to shape it." That shift in thinking is where freedom begins. Responsibility also requires self-awareness. You begin to notice patterns in your behavior, the choices you repeat, the habits you protect, and the excuses you tolerate. You start to see how your daily actions either support your goals or silently sabotage them. This awareness can be uncomfortable, but discomfort is often the doorway to growth. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot improve what you pretend is not your responsibility. One of the most powerful forms of responsibility is emotional responsibility. Understanding that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can control how you respond. Your response shapes your experience. Two people can face the same challenge, yet have completely different outcomes, not because of the situation, but because of their mindset. Responsibility teaches you to pause, reflect, and choose your response instead of reacting from fear or frustration. When you take responsibility for your time, your energy, and your focus, your life begins to shift. You stop saying you are too busy and start asking what truly matters. You stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. You stop hoping for change and start creating it. Responsibility replaces wishful thinking with intentional action. Responsibility is also the gateway to confidence. Each time you own your decisions and follow through on your commitments, you build trust within a world that constantly glorifies hustle, business, and nonstop effort. Alignment is often overlooked, yet alignment is far more powerful than working harder. Hustle without alignment leads to exhaustion, frustration, and burnout, while alignment creates flow, clarity, and sustainable success. Alignment means your thoughts, values, actions, and goals are moving in the same direction, not fighting against each other. Many people are busy all day, but still feel unfulfilled. They work hard but feel empty. They achieve milestones yet feel disconnected. This happens because they are hustling for goals that do not align with who they truly are. When your outer life does not match your inner values, no amount of effort will bring peace. Alignment is not about doing more. It is about doing what truly matters. Alignment begins with self-awareness, knowing what you stand for, what you value, and what kind of life you want to live. When your goals are aligned with your values, motivation becomes natural. You no longer have to force yourself every day, because your actions feel meaningful. You wake up with intention instead of pressure, with purpose instead of panic. Hustle culture teaches you to push through everything, even when something feels wrong. But alignment teaches you to pause and listen. It teaches you to ask, does this path honor my values? Does this decision move me closer to the life I want, or does it pull me further away? When you are aligned, saying no becomes easier, distractions lose their appeal, and comparison fades, because you are no longer chasing someone else's definition of success. Alignment also creates consistency. When your goals are aligned with your identity, you show up even on difficult days. Discipline becomes less about willpower and more about commitment to who you are becoming. You stop relying on temporary motivation and start building long-term habits that support your vision. This is why alignment always outlasts hustle. When you are misaligned, even small tasks feel heavy, procrastination increases, and self-doubt grows. But when you are aligned, effort feels lighter, challenges feel meaningful, and setbacks become lessons instead of roadblocks. Alignment does not mean life becomes easy. It means life becomes clear. You understand why you are doing what you are doing, And that understanding fuels resilience. Alignment also affects the people you surround yourself with. You begin to attract relationships, opportunities, and environments that support your growth instead of draining your energy. You become more selective with your time, your attention, and your commitments. Consistency is the quiet force behind every lasting success. It rarely gets the attention it deserves because it is not dramatic. It does not create instant results, and it does not offer overnight transformation. Yet consistency is what separates temporary motivation from permanent change. Destiny is not shaped by one big decision or one powerful moment. It is shaped by the small choices you repeat every single day. Many people wait for motivation before they take action. They wait to feel ready, inspired, or confident, but consistency teaches you a deeper truth. You do not act because you feel motivated, you feel motivated because you act. Small daily actions, when repeated over time, create momentum, and momentum changes everything. What feels insignificant today becomes life, changing when practiced consistently. Consistency builds identity. Every time you show up for yourself, even in small ways, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who keeps promises, someone who follows through, someone who can be trusted. This self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Without consistency, goals remain wishes, and dreams remain distant ideas. With consistency, even the most ambitious vision becomes achievable. Most people underestimate what they can become in a year because they overestimate what they can do in a day. They try to change everything at once, burn out quickly, and then quit. Consistency is not about doing everything. It is about doing something, every day, no matter how small. Progress does not come from intensity alone, it comes from repetition. Repetition turns effort into habit, and habit turns actions into destiny. Consistency also strengthens discipline. Discipline is not about forcing yourself. It is about training yourself. When you commit to small daily practices, your brain begins to expect them, resistance decreases, and focus increases. What once felt difficult becomes natural. This is how consistency reshapes your mindset, your routines, and ultimately your life. Life will not always cooperate with your plans. There will be days of exhaustion, doubt, and distraction. Consistency is what carries you through those days. It is the decision to keep going even when conditions are not perfect. It is choosing progress over perfection. Missing once is human. Quitting is a choice. Consistency teaches you to self-awareness, is the starting point of all real growth. Without it, change is accidental and progress is temporary. When you are self-aware, you understand not only what you do, but why you do it. You begin to recognize your thoughts, emotions, patterns, and triggers, and that understanding gives you the power to respond instead of react. Self-awareness is not about judging yourself, it is about knowing yourself. Most people live disconnected from their inner world. They move through life reacting to situations without understanding the emotions driving their behavior. This lack of awareness creates repeated mistakes, broken patterns, and unfulfilled potential. When you do not understand yourself, you repeat the same cycles, attract the same problems, and wonder why nothing changes. Self-awareness breaks these cycles by bringing clarity to the root of your actions. Self-awareness begins with honest reflection, asking yourself difficult questions, and listening to the answers without defense. It means noticing how you speak to yourself, how you handle stress, and how you respond to challenges. The way you talk to yourself shapes your confidence, your decisions, and your future. When you become aware of your inner dialogue, you gain the ability to change it. Emotional awareness is a powerful part of self-awareness. Emotions are not weaknesses, they are signals. They tell you when something matters, when something is misaligned, or when a boundary has been crossed. Instead of suppressing emotions, self-aware individuals observe them, learn from them, and use them as guidance. This emotional intelligence strengthens relationships, improves communication, and builds inner stability. Self-awareness also helps you understand your strengths and limitations. It allows you to stop comparing yourself to others and start honoring your unique path. external achievements alone cannot provide. Ultimately, self-awareness unlocks everything because it puts you in control of your inner world. When you master your thoughts, understand your emotions, and recognize your patterns, you gain the ability to shape your life with intention. Awareness is the light that reveals possibilities, and once you see clearly, you can never return to living blindly. As we come to the end of this message, remember this truth. Nothing in your life changes the moment you hear powerful words. Everything changes the moment you apply them. The future you want is not hidden somewhere far away. It is being shaped quietly by the questions you ask yourself, the choices you make, and the awareness you practice every single day. Clarity gives you direction, responsibility gives you power, alignment gives you peace, consistency gives you momentum, and self-awareness gives you control. These are not ideas meant to inspire you for a moment. They are principles meant to guide you for a lifetime. When you live by them daily, you stop chasing change and start becoming it. You do not need a perfect plan to begin. You only need the courage to be honest with yourself and the discipline to show up consistently. Ask the right questions. Take ownership of your actions. Align your life with your values. Stay consistent even when it feels slow, and remain aware of who you are becoming through it all. 2026 does not need a new version of the world. It needs a stronger, clearer, more intentional version of you. And that transformation begins today, with a single decision, to stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. When you do that, you will not just get what you want, you will become who you were meant to be.